I don't want to be too forward. Are you single? Let me be with you, Josh, please.
Put the knife down, all right? Just put it down.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to Combat Arms channel. Okay, so you guys already know I like checking out some of the more like low-key military units that we can find. And today I think we found a pretty interesting one. So this is from Forces News, and this is about the British MAPOs, which is the Military Aviation Protection Officers. So it says that they're responsible for ensuring safety on board military aircraft. Now, I have no idea what that would entail or what their actual purpose would be. So I've been on deployments and I've been on, training where we've utilized military aircraft, whether it was like a repurposed civilian aircraft or, like a straight up C-17. So I've been on those, but I don't remember seeing anyone that was specifically involved with the safety and security. But I imagine these guys had to come into play with things like Afghanistan when they were doing the evacuation, if somebody was getting a little bit more like disgruntled or what have you. So I imagine it's not so much security against the actual troops that are going on and boarding, because usually they're either really miserable and they're kind of just going internal because they're pushing out, or they're really happy because they're coming back from something. So yeah, this is about 5 minutes long. I think it should give us some pretty decent background. So yeah, let's check it out.
Sergeant Andy Melbourne is 6'6", 150 kilograms, a former national judo champion. 1, 2, 3. And he
150 kilos. What? That's 330 pounds. Holy cow. He's like a freaking human tank. If that dude was on an airplane, I don't know what you're going to need him for, but holy cow. Yeah, you're not really going to get away with anything. At least not for very long with a freaking human tank on board.
That's his job. He trains military aviation protection officers, or MAPOs, who are effectively police on planes. They protect passengers aboard flights on dangerous taskings, such as the recent evacuations from Afghanistan.
Okay.
They must learn to deal with everything, from disruptive behavior to hijackings, bombs, and knife attacks.
Whoa. I'm trying to think, so he's kind of like a federal, like in the US we have like air marshals. So I think he's kind of like that, but more like a military version. Again, it's more for like sort of like high profile or I guess evacuation sort of events. But for him to deal with hijackings and I think you're saying bombs, I don't know. I just can't imagine it would be that common for that to happen. I mean, there has to be some sort of screening before they get on military aircraft. I know generally for the troops themselves, there's really not so much screening because obviously you're taking your own weapons and whatnot. But for like civilians and whatnot, I would imagine there's probably some sort of pre-screening. But yeah, geez Louise.
We try and expose them to as many real-world situations as possible, always keeping them guessing. It's not just all about the physicality. They still have their police hat on at the end of the day. They still need to justify all their actions.
The cauliflower ears.
So it isn't just about trying to take my head off, for example. They need to make sure everything they do is legal and justified.
Good grief.
It can get pretty intense, I'm not going to lie. You do feel a couple of the shots they put in. Obviously, we train them very well before we get to this stage. Our objective is to give them as much kinetic realism as possible when we do these injects and scenarios.
Okay. I know he said he's trying to keep it realistic, but he's still also, what? They said 6'6" and 330 pounds. If we're going to get someone that big, it's going to be pretty hard to do anything with them. But I like how he's trying to keep that mindset. Whenever we had people with all like the really big padding and whatnot, they usually weren't trying too hard. It's usually after we got like pepper sprayed and we had to like subdue them or something. And then like riot control stuff where they're usually not trying too hard to get through your shield wall or anything. But I like how he's trying to keep that mindset because I'm sure he knows he can do a lot of damage if he really tried to.
Constantly on edge, especially if Andy's on there. You're always anticipating something's going to happen, and then when it doesn't, you're still suspicious of the fact that nothing has happened. The majority of
I know I'm pausing it so much, but how do they actually train? Do they just like, okay, it's time to go on a plane, and then like they wait there for several hours and either something happens or it doesn't?
Tasks that you are on, nothing will actually happen.
It's preparing for the worst, but also having the ability to think, actually, this person needs my help rather than I need to deal with this person, if that makes sense.
Although most flights will be entirely uneventful, MAPOs must train for the most unexpected scenarios to ensure they're ready for everything and anything. He doesn't know it yet, but Josh is to be the focus of the next storyline.
Yes, this is quite a sinister situation.
Nice, okay.
So one of our actors will show affection towards a member of the MAPO team, and these advances will be rejected completely by the MAPO team member.
Okay.
Are you single? Let me be with you, Josh, please.
As Josh politely declines his
I think it's funny because I'm sure a lot of stuff they're training is actually stuff that has happened to them. You know, again, they're trying to keep it realistic. So it's kind of funny. I mean, seeing a dude that's that big doing this, it'd be kind of intimidating, not gonna lie. I don't know how I'd feel about it. It's just such a weird situation you wouldn't expect to find yourself in, but it's like threatening, but also not really at the same time. So you don't really know what sort of level of force to reply with.
advances, the passenger becomes enraged and things turn violent.
Put the knife down, all right? Just put
Oh God.
We have a very large whiteboard on our wall in our office. It's called the idea board. And every day, anyone can come in and go, I've got an idea for a scenario.
Yeah, quite a unique situation.
Sorry, Josh, mate.
Very creative, but all within reality. It's not, none of it's
Got some
that
interesting
far-fetched.
hair.
In fact, none of it's far-fetched. It could all
And
could all
body
happen
armor.
at any time on any flight.
The spurned passion behind
And I'm guessing they're with the British Army is kind of what it's looking like with the gear and whatnot. I know they have the MP flash, which I've seen on Royal Marines and Army. And then I thought that was a commando patch, but I'm not really too sure.
but the drama's not over yet. After smoke drills on board their mock aircraft, next the Mapos must deal with a bomb on board.
My
We
gosh.
hide a device on board the aircraft. It's a fake device, of course. Once they find it, they have to actually build a safe area in the aircraft where we've indicated. It is the area of least resistance if an explosion goes off on
they
board
moving it?
an aircraft. The aircraft can still fly.
Okay,
it
no.
can still land if they do it correctly.
It's the
Okay.
final day
How does that
of the
work?
course.
It's been good. It's been challenging considering the size of me and the size of Andy Melbourne.
Quite daunting when you
They're
face
kidding.
somebody who is a similar size to the mountain off Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he's pretty much triple my body weight.
Time for a lesson from the man himself
Oh
in
my
how
God.
to protect yourself if someone triple your size is trying to stab you.
You
As I'm coming over
run.
the top, you're going to use your right arm to target that area there. Okay?
Dude, his
You've
arm
got a
is the
nice
size
strong
of her
base, you have
leg.
a line going from your wrist all the way through your body down to your other.
I'm sorry, there's no way. He would shatter her elbow. Look at the freaking size of him. If he came down full force, you're probably not stopping that. It's going to collapse your arm. There's no way. Even if you like straight grabbed it with the locked out arm. Look at that.
leg, okay? I just want you to, that's it, put some pressure in. I'm going to lean into you now, completely, and you're able to hold me off, aren't you? Even when that goes off. Would you like to see the takedown?
Good grief.
So knife is coming in, get your stance, up, switch your feet, move your body out, there you go, make it a snake, go up to your own wrist,
Okay.
there you go. At the same time, pull down on my wrist and raise up your elbow.
Oh, that looks complicated.
And with a bit more practice,
That's it.
Okay, so I'm trying to think about how we sort of countered a knife. So generally defending from a knife is not going to go exactly how people picture in like movies and like YouTube videos and whatnot. But how we did it in the Marines was basically to block their forearm with our forearm, reach underneath their arm, and then grab our own arm so you can sort of wrench their arm back. But yeah, I gotta say, the dude is massive. He definitely has the reach, he has the weight, and yeah, it's gonna be pretty freaking scary. So it's nice for them to have some training on this.
That's it.
It's so satisfying bringing you down, Andy. You obviously enjoy your job.
Very much so, yes.
What is it you love about it?
It's personal pride of mine. I come from quite a physical background, so being able
You
to
can tell, yeah.
impart some of that wisdom onto the students, for me, is just so rewarding.
And a bright career in acting ahead of you.
You know, just maybe a little bit.
Is
And,
the place in the mountain or something?
Hannah King, Forces News at RAF Honington.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still kind of interested how their actual role fits in with sort of everyday life. I mean, for evacuation operations, I understand where they would fit in as far as anybody getting belligerent or disorderly, especially if, you know, depending on where you're going, it's probably going to take, you know, several hours. And you probably don't want to do an emergency landing or divert the aircraft for a military aircraft. So I imagine they need to be able to control those people. So they probably need to get trained with negotiation skills. Obviously, if somebody has a weapon or what have you, they need to be able to deal with that. And just like general organization. But I don't think we really have any sort of equivalence to this in the U.S. military. I mean, I'm trying to think. Generally, the crew would do most of the organization, but as far as security, I'm not sure we really have that so much. And if anything, it'd be like an ad hoc thing where they just get a troop that's actually doing the movement to be some sort of security, if they felt that there was something like that going on. But I guess for evacuation operations, that makes a lot of sense. Of course, if you guys have more insight as to how they would be utilized, you can put that down below, because I'm still trying to think of certain, ideas or certain ways that these guys could be implemented. I imagine there's really not that many of them in whatever service that they're actually in, the British Army or what have you. I imagine there's not that many because it is such a niche role. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys have any personal experience with these guys or how they were utilized, or especially, if there was like something that could have went really bad if these guys weren't here. But yeah, again, it's always nice to check out these really niche specific jobs that you wouldn't, ever hear about if it weren't for YouTube channels like Forces News getting some cool coverage of it. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it. That's it for this video. I'll see you on the next one.